Hey everybody, this is TJR. 2 weeks ago was the broadcast of the 94th annual Oscar Awards show. During this broadcast, there was an incident, a confrontation between actor Will Smith and the host of the telecast, Chris Rock. And since then, the internet has not been able to stop talking about it. Now, over the last 2 weeks, pretty much all of the talk has been about Will Smith and what he did. But today, I want to talk about Chris Rock and what he did. When you are a performer and you perform in public, you are always putting yourself in a very vulnerable position. Every time I release a video here on YouTube, I make myself open to scrutiny and to verbal abuse. Of course, no one can physically attack me here on YouTube, but I spent many years playing live music gigs in public where I was in the same position as any other performer. At any time during a live performance, you could be the subject of a verbal attack or a heckler, and I definitely have my experiences with this scenario. And with that scenario comes the possibility that some unhinged individual could just decide that for whatever reason, they don't like you and walk up to you and assault you. Now, if that does happen, I do have the right to defend myself, but any kind of physical assault while you're in the middle of performing, or as we musicians like to refer to it, working, would be a complete sucker punch. It would be the last thing that you would expect while you are performing, and it would be the last thing that anyone who works with the general public expects also. But unfortunately, over the last 2 years, there has been a sudden surge of incidents where public-facing employees have been the victims of physical assault by customers. Many of them have been innocent store employees attacked by customers angry at their employer's COVID policies, the employee's only crime being that they work there. But there has also been a huge surge of assaults on employees in public-facing jobs by customers that are completely non-COVID related. But whatever the reason, these assaults are acts of cowardice, not just because of the assault, but because the assaulter has chosen to attack this person at their place of work. And the reason I say this is because the person working is almost always in the more vulnerable position. And that is because in that moment, the person at work is being held accountable to a higher standard of behavior than the person who isn't. Now, instigating violence against another human being who is not physically attacking you is always wrong. But instigating that act of violence while they are at work is even more wrong. The same is true for what happened between Will Smith and Chris Rock on the night of the Oscar telecast. Hosting the Oscars, while it may appear to be fun from the audience's perspective, is a job, and it does come with responsibilities. Chris Rock was the one working, so he was in that moment the one in the more vulnerable position. Now, hosting the Oscars, while it may appear fun from the audience's perspective, is a job, and it does come with responsibilities. As host, Chris Rock has the responsibility to entertain the live audience and the worldwide broadcast audience. He has a responsibility to keep the telecast moving. And since this is a live event, on time delay of course, he has to be the face of the telecast, and he needs to be able to respond to any unexpected incidents that could potentially derail that broadcast and put it back on track. Now, certainly, unexpected, surprising, and even embarrassing incidents have occurred in the past at the Oscars, but nothing like what happened 2 weeks ago, and nothing where the show's host was so closely involved. And what happened 2 weeks ago is definitely the last thing that any Oscar show host could be expecting, especially from a fellow actor and performer. So yes, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock during the telecast was indeed a sucker punch, and it was cowardly also. Now, getting smacked across the face on national television in this situation definitely would have to be a complete shock to the system for anybody. And after it happened, who knows, he could have very well been experiencing some level of disbelief. But I'll tell you, if Chris Rock had retaliated, nobody would have blamed him. Even though he is on the job, even though he is supposed to be representing his employer, the Oscars, Chris Rock did not retaliate. Instead, he did something quite different. Rock's initial reaction kind of reminded me of a scene from the first Ant-Man movie. This would be the scene where the elderly Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, socks the film's antagonist, Darren Cross, played by Corey Stoll, in the jaw. After the recoil of Hank's blow, Darren Cross mocks Pym's outburst by exclaiming, "Wow, wow. You know, I saw that coming from a mile away, but I figured it would be all weak and pathetic." He complimented him, but it was a very backhanded compliment. Now, Chris Rock responded in a very similar way. He exclaimed, "Wow," twice, just like the character from Ant-Man did. He said, "Wow, wow, Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me." And he smiled at the camera like it was no big deal. In doing this, he understatedly mocked Will Smith's act of violence, which could very well have fueled more of Smith's anger, who then began to cuss him out from his seat. And when Smith told Rock to keep his wife's name out of his effing mouth, Rock just calmly said, "I'm going to." He could have gotten angry at Will Smith, and again, I don't think anybody would have blamed him. He could have jeered at him. He could have made fun of him. He could have ridiculed him, something that I'm sure he could be very good at given all his many years as a stand-up comic. Instead, he remembered his responsibilities and he kept the telecast moving. He didn't provoke Will Smith. Now, at this point, a good majority of the people watching, including the show's producer, Will Packer, were unsure if this was some kind of a stage prank. And it wasn't until Chris Rock had the chance to go backstage and speak to him that he found out it wasn't. In a TV interview, Packer reveals that he encouraged Chris Rock to let the LA police, who were backstage waiting, do their job and arrest Will Smith. I have to think that the temptation to say, "Yeah, arrest him," must have been pretty fierce. And I think that for most of us, including myself, that temptation would have been near impossible to resist. But what did Chris Rock do? He said, "I'm fine. Let's not make a bad situation any worse." Because he was still working, he put his responsibilities to the telecast first before his own personal feelings. And again, frankly, I'm not sure I could have done the same. Prior to all of this, I was pretty much indifferent about Chris Rock, but not anymore. I really have to admire the level of emotional maturity that he displayed in handling a situation that would no doubt have completely thrown the rest of us for a complete loop, myself included. This is TJR, and those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Even if you disagree with what I'm saying here, please share your thoughts, but as always, be respectful when you do. I want to thank my mighty and powerful patron supporters who are helping me make more videos. If you would like to be a patron supporter and see your name in the credits, please go to patreon.com/TJR, the original. Patron supporters get early access to select videos and exclusive videos available nowhere else. And if you can't be a patron supporter, that's fine. Just click like, click subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank everybody who made it to the end. And I hope you stay safe and healthy. Take care. Bye-bye.